I just watched a 2-hour live stream because they said they were gonna show some Naruto Shinobi Striker gameplay, and they did, like 3 matches in 2 hours. So I'm doing fine. This Japanese live stream showed barrier battle gameplay for the very first time. Now, it is a low quality live stream, unless you pay some amount of money to watch it in HD, which screw you. It's a little choppy in places, but yeah, it's the best we got. Nevertheless, we're able to learn some new stuff, especially about the rules of barrier battle, but we also got some new jutsu in there. And the first barrier battle match starts with Gaara, and that's great because we can see all of his icons for all of his jutsu in the bottom of the screen. Now, we've already broken down most of his jutsu, but the substitution icon? That is brand new. That is a Sand Substitution or a Sand clone, something along those lines. It was definitely on my wish list for Gaara, but now it's confirmed. Your created character will be able to turn into Sand when they use their substitution. Now, the objective of barrier battle is essentially to capture 2 pillars. I'm gonna call them pylons. 2 pylons that once your team captures, it brings down a shield that surrounds a boss. One team is only defending, only protecting those pylons, only protecting that boss, and the other team is trying to capture the pylons and kill the boss. Now, something interesting happens when Gaara is attacking the first pylon. We had talked before about his Sand Shower ability, but we only had a screenshot for his ability. Now, during this match, he actually uses that ability and it hits Sasuke. And you can see the debuff arrow next to Sasuke's health, and it lasts for a while. Even after he leaves the ability, the range of the ability, the debuff stays with the character. And at this point, both pylons have been captured. The barrier is down, which is something that you can tell by looking at the top left of the UI. You have the health bar for Gamachi, which is the boss of this game mode. And below that, you have another gauge that represents the barrier. Once you capture the pylons, the gauge becomes empty and it starts filling up over time. Once it fills up completely, the barrier comes back, which in this match, it does end up happening. So, after it fills up, the attacking team must bring the barrier back down by capturing the other pylons. But just like every other game mode in Shinobi Striker, there is a timer, so it's essentially a race against the clock, and it's not looking good for the attacking team. They're able to bring the barrier back down with only 50 seconds to go, but the match doesn't end when the timer reaches 0. When the time runs out and the barrier is down, the match will still go on until the barrier returns. So if the attacking team can kill the boss before the barrier returns, they win the match. And to make things more exciting, everyone on both teams gets some sort of buff when the timer reaches 0. In this match, the attacking team failed to kill the boss, and the defending team takes the cake. Now, since the teams have different roles during this game mode, they go for a round 2. The attackers become the defenders become the attackers, and this time we go over to the Hidden Rain. And this is the first time that we've ever seen gameplay in the Hidden Rain. And guys, you can run on water. That was a nice surprise. I think the Hidden Rain is really my favorite map, not only because you can run on water, but because you can have fights inside the city where it's pretty dense, but you can also go outside the city where there's not much cover. So it feels like a very dynamic map that I definitely want to try out for myself. But anyway, a couple of interesting things happened during this match. They first bring the barrier down with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock, which doesn't look great. But they're able to deal some decent damage to the boss. And while they're dealing this damage, this Naruto looking character is actually not Naruto, but is a custom ranged avatar, and he finally uses that secret jutsu that we've been looking at the icons for so goddamn long, the giant flame bombs, and that is Jiraiya's jutsu. We had speculated on it before, but now we can finally see it. That is Jiraiya's, no doubt about it. This is a huge hint towards Jiraiya being in the final game. Now, the barrier does come back up. The attackers have dealt around 25% damage, and it seems like an impossible task to bring down the boss. But they're not giving up. They're trying to activate the pylons once again, and while they do that, may I just say that the Kazekage outfit looks badass on a custom character. It's a really, really nice look. The attackers managed to bring down the barrier with only 25 seconds left, but that means that the game's not going to end until the barrier comes back up. The timer is going to run out, everyone's gonna get a buff, but the game doesn't end until the barrier comes back. So it's a total boss rush for the attackers, while the defenders try to keep them at bay. The timer runs out, the attackers start dealing some insane damage to the boss thanks to that final buff that the game gives them, and then something that was totally unexpected happens. When the boss reaches 50% health, the barrier comes back up immediately, the boss disappears, and the timer is reset. You get another 5 minutes. So basically, if the boss reaches 50% health, new pylons will spawn in different locations and the boss will also switch places. And now the battle takes place outside the city, which changes the game completely. It's not as easy to run on walls or use your wire kunai because there aren't that many walls around. The barrier comes down once again with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock, and the attackers deal some decent damage to the boss, almost killing him in one go. But the barrier does come back up at the last second, giving the attackers only 1 minute to bring it back down again. It's a fierce battle around the pylon, but the defenders held their ground, and Gamakichi stayed protected for this one. Defenders win once again. The live stream didn't end there, but what they showed afterwards was capture the flag match in the hidden sand, which is something we've already seen a ton of in the open beta, so there really was nothing new to learn here. Overall, that boss looks very hard to bring down, but at the same time, the people playing it, most of them weren't even using secret jutsu. And one of the teams was literally 3 attack types and 1 range type. So team composition was really not impressive, their skills were not impressive, so I'm expecting a lot more bosses to actually die when the game finally comes out. Still, it was nice to learn about this game mode. It was a long time coming. Barrier Battle was one of the first game modes ever announced, and this is the first time they're actually showing like a full match. And all of these rules, we didn't know about them. This is the first time we're learning about all that stuff. Also very exciting, the Sand Clone ability, which unfortunately didn't get used, but that's something that was definitely on my wish list. And another big hint towards Jiraiya being in the game as a ranged character. I mean, this live stream, it took a while to get there, but it got there, and I think it delivered some news for Shinobi Striker, for sure. Let me know what you think. What are your first impressions of Barrier Battle? Is this a game mode that you think you will enjoy when the game comes out? Let me know your opinions in the comments down below. Last time on Shinobi Striker, we talked about every single jutsu coming to Deidara and Gaara, which means you'll be able to equip those jutsu in your custom character. Video right here. If you're in the mood for something else, there's also the video at the bottom, but as always, thank you very much for watching. My name is Globku, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.